It is my pleasure to introduce to you the Commissioner of Commerce, Community, and Economic Development. He's been serving since 2015, appointed by Governor Walker. He has the responsibility for 6 divisions and 7 corporate agencies. Chris was recruited to Alaska from Colorado in 1990 and as City Public Works Director in Galena. There followed 7 years as Dillingham City Manager and 14 more years as City Manager in Unalaska. Please welcome Commissioner Hladick to the stage.
I can honestly say I've never had to follow a dance troupe, so let's give him another round of applause. Well, good evening, and thank you to the Juneau Economic Development Council for organizing this great event. And thank you for all being here and engaging in these important conversations. This summit is focused on supporting economic development in Alaska, something the governor has tasked our department with. We're committed to working closely with you, leaders of statewide business community, entrepreneurs, local government administrators, nonprofit directors, to identify policy improvements to remove barriers to give Alaska a more friendly business climate. What is innovation? The action or process of innovating, a new method, idea, or product. Synonyms: change, alteration, revolution, upheaval, transformation. Hold the transformation thought. Now more than ever, there needs to be a concentrated focus on economic development. When do we talk about economic development in the state? When the price of oil is in the basement. When do we stop talking about economic development in the state? When the price of oil returns to the state of Alaska budget supporting levels. Only this time, it's different. It's time to focus on economic development. So what is different about this time? There are record levels of oil rigs drilling in the lower 48 right now, higher than before the crisis of 2008. This activity follows recent oil field discoveries down south from the East Coast to the Dakotas to Texas. All the pundits tell us oil will be at the $60 a barrel rate for some time. Given this information, what do we do as a state? I would say that we need to stop talking about what is going to happen to us and start talking about what we want to happen. What do we want our economy to look like 10 years or 20 years from now? It's really up to us, the business community, the economic development organizations, the specialists, to come together and focus our efforts on long-term goals. I'm fairly certain that had we done economic development and got it into the end zone 10 years ago, the impacts of the current downturn in the price of oil would most definitely be less than what we are seeing today. And yes, we do have a fiscal crisis. People in this room, we all have been talking about the budget since I got here in 2015. That crisis is going to be solved. It will be solved, or we are going to see some severe consequences in the coming years. In the meantime, we have to map out our future. I don't need to tell you that economic development is not something that happens overnight. It takes time and it takes hard work. Earlier today, you saw a presentation, hopefully from Ethan Tyler, and he talked about Northern Opportunity, Alaska's economic strategy. This is a roadmap, an outline of specific action items and measurable goals to diversify and strengthen our regional and state economies. It will provide criteria to evaluate economic opportunities and flexibility to adapt to global economic conditions while maximizing Alaska's unique advantages. We need to create a holistic approach to economic development and work together. Fragmented approaches to business and economic development don't work, and neither does top-down approaches to economic development. In the last 10 years, we have seen multiple approaches to economic development at the state level. None of them have gotten into the end zone. but they provided very good information that we can build upon. Every new administration comes in with a broom and sweeps out what has been done and starts anew. For this reason, I think we should look at an entity outside of state government in a public-private partnership model to ensure that this initiative can continue for 10 years or more. Many states have already taken this approach, and I think we should take a hard look at what they have accomplished with this governance model. We need to create a holistic approach that builds on existing work, and you may have heard Mr. Tyler talk about building on the past approaches. Economic development and workforce development need to go hand in hand and must be coordinated. Department of Labor is working on an apprenticeship program that's going to be of great value to the business community. Modern financing instruments need to be looked at, such as small security offerings, commonly known as crowdfunding. You're going to hear more about this from our Director of Banking and Securities, Kevin Ansom, tomorrow, I believe. And I'll leave it to her to elaborate on the role of the banking and supporting economic development. So what are the next steps? The comprehensive economic strategy is hopefully only the beginning. It's a sketch of our economy with lots of good information and possible places to apply pressure, but we need to go further strategically. An economic summit is being considered that would take place after the current legislative session gavels out. We'll plan out a year-long initiative in support of getting the public-private partnership off the ground. But make no mistake, this can't be a top-down approach. If there is no interest in the business community after a year of our effort, then there's no use in us moving forward because government cannot do this alone. Economic development, as I said before, only works from the bottom up. We'll have an implementation plan for actionable items from Northern Opportunity as a place for the public-private partnership to begin. We need to review the SEDS every year because it's going to be a living document. We need to strengthen our orders and economic development entities, and I know what you're thinking, the budget, the budget, the budget. 60 to 80% of new jobs are generated from the creation of small business and expansion of existing business. These are the innovators of our economy. New businesses, entrepreneurship, increased investment in Alaska, and growth in our economy will come from innovation. We need to find ways to support innovation in our communities. I'm thankful for the willingness of dedicated individuals like you to join together to develop a path to a more vibrant economy. Take every chance you get to educate Alaskans about economic development, and it's especially important to talk to your legislators about it. I ask you to participate in this process called innovation. Challenge yourselves to find a direction for Alaska that is sustainable and prosperous. Let's work together to innovate, to mitigate our challenges, and take advantages of our opportunities, and let's see if we can transform our economy. We need to get this right this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you for your leadership. It is not an easy task to get us all behind a common vision for Alaska's economic future.